celebrate the 236th anniversary of the founding of our nation, when our forefathers declared their independence from the English crown and affirmed the God-given freedom that is the unalienable right of every person. Their vision has guided this nation over these centuries, and their actions and the actions of generations of Americans have affirmed our core beliefs founded on this precious gift of God. The 10th Archbishop of Baltimore, James Cardinal Gibbons, a man who was thoroughly Catholic and American, affirmed this belief in a sermon preached at his church in Rome, Santa Maria in Trastevere. I quote that esteemed churchman who said, "I belong to a country where the civil government holds over us the aegis of its protection without interfering with us in the legitimate exercise of our sublime mission as ministers of the gospel of Christ." He continues, "Our country has liberty without license and authority without despotism." 2 weeks ago, over 1,000 people crowded into the Basilica of the Assumption in Baltimore to begin the Fortnight for Freedom. Our prayer is that the vision of our founding fathers and the sacrifices of so many Americans may not be put asunder as our government oversteps its boundaries, infringing on the most basic American right, the freedom to practice and to exercise one's religion. Tonight, we gather to close this fortnight of prayer, not to say that this struggle is ended, but to ask God for the fortitude, the courage, and the commitment to continue with voice and action to defend this basic right that is ours. As people of faith, we believe that we begin every endeavor rooted in prayer to the God who is the source of authentic freedom. As people of faith, we rely on God's help as we give voice to our cause for religious freedom in our land. And as a people of faith, we witness with the various works we accomplish each day in our hospitals, our schools, our soup kitchens, our senior centers, and yes, indeed, our churches. We know that as a people of faith, we are not on the fringe, but we are in the midst of places where help is most desperately needed, seeking to serve not only people of our own faith, but people of all faiths, and even of no faith at all. Entrusted with religious freedom, we seek to be the leaven for our society, giving voice to those who have none, and defending those who are the most vulnerable. This is the gospel mandate that Jesus has given us, and this is what we have sought to do in the history of our church in this country. We began this fortnight on the eve of the feast of Saints Thomas More and John Fisher, two men who were committed to the values of our Catholic faith over a temporal king's order to renounce what they knew to be true. Within this fortnight, we celebrated the solemnity of Saints Peter and Paul and the first martyrs of the church in Rome. It is integral to our tradition to stand up for what is right, to place even personal convenience, power, or even one's own life above all, to witness to the truth that is given to us in the gospel. For 236 years, people of faith have been in the forefront to defend this freedom. from the soil that is our own in this very nation to that of the European continent, and most recently in the Middle East. Thousands of our troops have made the ultimate sacrifice for the freedom that is now endangered by mandate. Can we stand by silently while this affront to that sacrifice exists? The critical issue is that our government is seeking to force us to violate our consciences, to go against our beliefs. But as Americans, we hold that no one can take away our right to practice our faith as we are called to do so by our Creator. In the name of those who have died for this right and for generations yet to be born, we are obligated to speak out and never let our vigilance fail to practice the freedom of religion. This is the true spirit of celebrating our independence, conscious of our great history and of our own fight against tyranny. It is a battle that has never ended, but continued with the hearts and minds set on keeping our ideals that have made this country great. With people of faith throughout this nation, we speak out because we love her and we cherish all that has been done to guarantee our freedoms. This fortnight of freedom may be coming to an end, but our struggles continue in our love for our nation and our faith. On January the 19th, 2012, the bishops of our region attended the ad limina visit to Rome to meet with Pope Benedict XVI. When the Holy Father addressed our group, he chose to speak on the topic of religious liberty. I knew in that audience room that I was witnessing history in the making. Pope Benedict spoke of the inherent need for the witness of religion and of people of faith in public life. He also warned, and I quote, "It is imperative that the entire Catholic community in the United States come to realize the grave threats to the Church's public moral witness presented by a radical secularism which finds increasing expression in the political and the cultural spheres." He continues, "Here, once more, we see the need for an engaged, articulate, and well-formed laity endowed with a strong critical sense vis-a-vis the dominant culture and with the courage to counter a reductive secularism which would delegitimize the Church's participation in public debate about the issues which are determining the future of American society." As the Health and Human Services mandate became public, these words are prophetic. My brothers and sisters, this issue is not merely one taken up by the bishops. It is imperative that all people of faith realize the wide implications that this has for the practice of any religion in our nation. We need an informed laity, ready to be aware of the consequences of the erosion of religious liberty, and to counter this erosion with all that we have and all that we are. On this eve of the celebration of our independence, let us recall the hard-fought fight that has been given for us, the sacrifice that has been given to preserve liberty, and the vigilance needed to guarantee its continued protection. I close this homily this evening with a quotation from Timothy Cardinal Dolan, Archbishop of New York and President of the Conference of Catholic Bishops. "We know so very well that religious freedom is our heritage, our legacy, and our firm belief, both as loyal Catholics and as Americans. There have been many threats to religious freedom over the decades and the years, but these often came from without. This one, sadly, comes from within. As our ancestors did with previous threats, we will tirelessly defend the timeless and enduring truth of religious freedom. We gather here this evening, my dear friends, because we believe in the ideals of our nation, and we believe in the solid truths of our faith. May we always be vigilant for both, and may we always be prayerful and true witnesses of what it is to live as a people in this country who believe in God and who are able to live out those beliefs with our very lives.